Hello. It's that time of year again. The most wonderful time of the year for your mental health. Finals week. It's actually not for another 2 weeks, but we've been getting in that mode, you know? Like, next week is my last full week of classes. So, I'm freaking out. I figured since I'm stressing, I don't want to put this, like, false positivity on the internet. I just kind of want to be real. So I figured I would just indulge in this pity party of mine and shit on myself. No, that sounds bad. And tear myself to shreds. Why not? So I have with me some of my old graphic design work. Some of it from like before I even started majoring in graphic design. So I figured let's start with the oldest stuff and then work our way into the newer but still bad stuff. So these are my old copies of my high school newspaper. It's not that bad, but by like my standards nowadays, this is bad. This is actually pretty good for what I did in high school because honestly, it was real rough before this. And this is kind of how I actually figured out that I wanted to go into design was I went to a conference the summer before my senior year. So I ended up going into the session on design because I figured that was like my weakest area. And at the time, I didn't really value design. I was like, whatever, like that's not something that you really have to think about. And it like changed my life. Like it's literally the reason that I'm going into graphic design right now. This was the second to last issue. It was the music issue. So this was the cover. I definitely had this idea that I took from Pinterest. Back then, I blatantly just stole ideas off Pinterest. Don't do that. It's okay to be inspired, but don't steal. So this was the mascot. I actually still kind of like this. I just think that it's very like it looks like student work. It looks amateur-ish, you know? When you open it up, you had to pay for color or black and white, so we only did like the center spread in color and the cover. Everything else was black and white. It's a lot of text. Ooh, let's just ignore this very bad cutout that I just put on a gray strip just to give it some contrast. So bad. I think this was kind of cool. Another idea that I got off of Pinterest. I'm actually kind of still proud of this. I think this is kind of cool. Like, oh, dude. I love you, but can you please get out of here? Thanks. So this was the center spread, and I mean, there's some things about it that I do really like. I feel like the color, if I knew about blend modes back then, I would have done it as like a blend mode, but I just like turned down the opacity and put a giant strip of color across that, and so that's probably why it looks kind of weird. It doesn't look as natural, like the color overlay. And then we did a fashion guide to prom and a sports story. And again, in black and white. Not bad, but not great. Me roasting my own work, being like, it's all right. And then this was my senior issue. I actually kind of like this one. We did the top 10 list, and guess who's on there? And we did like a financial aid thing, which I think was like pretty helpful. My friend Matt did the graphics for it, and he's actually really good. Like, he's a really good designer. And he does really good graphics. I actually still like this one, the college checklist thing. I think like there's some legibility issues for sure right there. I probably should have made like that little white box less transparent, but I still kind of like it. We used Quicksand as the like headline font for everything. It was during the time that like Lobster and all those other fonts were really popular. So it kind of made sense because it was kind of like fun and like very like 2010s, you know? Like it was like trendy at the time, but I definitely wouldn't use that font again. This map was a fucking mess. We just sort of like randomly assigned numbers to these and people were like, what do the numbers mean? And I was like, I don't know, but it makes no sense. There's like A, B, C, and then there's like 16, 23, 37. What does that mean? Oh God, this. So we did a story with the top two. And like, look at the white space on the bottom. It's like so bad. Roommates. Should best friends be roommates? No, you ruin that friendship. I learned that the hard way. Oh my God. And then, okay, so then I wrote an editor's letter. Literally, this issue is all about me. I'm so narcissistic. Looking back, there are so many things that I did that are just like blatant violations of like every design rule. All of the little like widows and orphans that I have all throughout the text, it's so bad. There were some good things that were happening with the design, it just wasn't there yet. For a high school newspaper, we'll give it a pass. So the next thing on my list is the first issue that I designed of my college magazine. And I still work here, and I will show you some of the work that I've done now that is a lot better than this. So to start off with, this masthead is just like not centered at all. And it's so big. I ended up shrinking it down my next year because it was just ginormous. I have to say that like the paper quality in this is so much nicer. A lot of this I just kept from the girl before me. I didn't like redesign it just yet because like I didn't want to take liberties. It was like my first issue that I was working here, so I didn't want to like change it up a lot. And then, oh my gosh, the headline is so ginormous. And then the copy is also ginormous. I ended up shrinking it down later because it was just like, this is a college magazine, not AARP. This was my go-to for a while, was like doing a half-page photo and then like laying the type over it. Why does it smell bad? Did you fart? Okay, dude, you need to go over here. You're getting in the way. This was like our cover story, and I wish I would have done more with this because it's so just like bleh. Yeah, there's just like, see, like stuff like that, you know, like widows, orphans. Yeah, this one was just as bad too. I did something kind of cool with this one. This is the next issue. Everyone thought I was so creative for putting the headline inside the camera lens, but I actually did kind of like this one. I did that. It was just very like trendy at the time, and I really liked this, the whole like surrounding her with the box. That at the time was like one of my favorite spreads. The cover of this, I'm ashamed to say I did this. I didn't do this illustration, we had someone do it for us, but like I did all the type and I sort of told everyone what I was looking for, like what I wanted in it. So my inspiration for it was that look of like having type just sort of fill in all the spaces. Like it's very like hand-drawn looking. At the time I was just trying to do like really trendy stuff, and I wasn't really thinking about like good design. I was just trying to do what I saw on like Pinterest. Like in hindsight, would have loved to just do something very simple but like properly designed, you know, like following all the design rules, creating clear hierarchy, just like doing good like basic layouts and then grown from there. But I was like really ambitious, and I was trying to do like really cool trendy stuff without really knowing what I was doing, and so I think that's why a lot of it was like really bad. This is actually the first thing that I was really proud of. So this, I was so proud of this, but I had a massive mistake in it besides all the widows. But right here it just cuts off. It was so cute, and then I ruined it by fucking cutting off the text. And I think I still have this on my portfolio. I don't think I want it on there anymore, but for a while, like, this was my favorite thing I like designed, was I did this little box for our Women Innovation story, and then you open it up, and I actually still really like this. So like this thing I did with the text, it's very clean. It's actually very nice. I still kind of do like this. And then I ended up doing like an infographic, kind of an infographic. It's like one of those infographics where like numbers are bigger or whatever than the text. But honestly, now that I know like what proper infographics are, I would be yelled at for doing something like this. Don't do infographics this way. This is not the right way to do infographics. Do actual charts and actual data. Don't just make numbers bigger. To like not keep shitting on my work, let me show you the stuff that I'm doing now that I actually kind of like. These are the last 3 issues that we have done, and they're all super cool, and I'm really proud of them. Also, because we have an awesome team this year. I have a design team that works with me. I'm like the editor, and I have a bunch of them that help me out, and they design most of the magazine. Like, they're awesome, and it's been like the greatest thing ever. This is one that I've designed that I kind of like this one now. This is like what I'm talking about, like more minimalist, a lot cleaner. This one is really cool. I love the cover to this one, and I really love this one right here. I really like what I did with the pull quote here, using tape across here to sort of cover up the letters, but you can still read it. I think it's really cool. I really like what I did with that. And then we have this most recent issue, which I definitely want to submit for like the awards that we do, because it's really cool. The guy that designed this, it just looks freaking awesome. It's really cool. It's like about a cult, and I think it's so creative and so cool, and I love it. This is what I'm talking about. It's great to have a team of people. A word of advice, if you try to do everything yourself, you're gonna fail. Delegate, and honestly, if you work as a team, stuff just looks so much better. So those are my magazines. That's mostly what I do. I feel like I should have mentioned that. Like, I actually really want to go into publication design. I started off in journalism, and through journalism and like through doing design, like what I talked about like in high school, that's kind of how I got into design in college. And I really want to work for a magazine. My like dream is to work for like New York Times Magazine. Their stuff is just beautiful. I use them as inspiration all the time. Inspiration, don't steal. In all seriousness though, like getting good at something is a process, and it takes a very long time to get to the point where you're like actually proud of your work. And that's like part of the creative process. All this stuff that I've done, it's just sort of like helped me get to where I am now. I'm sure like 2 years from now, I'll look back on my work that I'm doing right now, make a video about it and be like, it sucks, roasting my old portfolio. So I hope, if anything, that gives you hope that your work can get better. On that note, go and subscribe. And you can also go ahead and like this video too. I will see you later on the internet. Bye.